Am I wearing the right color for the occasion? Did I understand my assignment? Okay, so we're in the smallest state, but a lot of us have the biggest mouths. So, as I announce these amazing guests that are gonna come join me on stage, I want you to show them how amazing Rhode Island is and why we are so excited to have them come on this stage. Contrary to popular belief, he's not an appliance, but he did play Blane, and he's Mr. Andrew McCarthy. Wherever you want. I am easy, wherever you want. I'm easy. I make this very easy. Very easy. Now, this seems shocking to me, and I'm sure to all of you. In his first con appearance and panel here in Rhode Island, Mr. Jon Cryer. And let's face it, these two gentlemen are equally as amazing, but there is no Pretty in Pink without Andie. Come on, Molly Ringwald. Okay, so you guys who have all been to panels before, you know the rules. I will ask a couple of really quick questions. There are microphones on either side that we would love you to get up and ask questions of your own, because I know you do not just want to hear me bore them. You have better questions, but I'm also going to start with a almost Pretty in Pink question, but almost not. I can't stop watching and falling in love with the documentary you did about the Brat Pack. I can't not mention that because all of us grew up watching these films. None of us know what that was like to live. And that to me was such an interesting retrospective on it, and really fun, and watching you see all these people again and have all these tough conversations sometimes, and then also really fun conversations, had to be cathartic and really fun at the end of the day.
I have to say that the biggest surprise for me about the whole thing was how much affection we all had for each other, you know, which, speaking for myself, wasn't always the case back in the day, because we were young and scared and trying to figure stuff out, and all, you know, suddenly we're all well known, and all these things were happening sort of, I felt like, coming at me, and other people felt whatever they felt. So that's why I did the documentary, because it was like, I know what I felt. What did you guys feel? But it was such a lovely experience to sort of go back. There's a moment in it when, like, I see Rob Lowe, and we hug, and then he goes, how long since we've seen each other? And I go, like 30 years. And then we just go, oh my God, and we hug again. You know, it was just such a lovely experience. And to see Jon again. Jon and I did not get along because I was a jerk to him when we made the movie.
He was.
We can talk about. It wasn't that bad.
No.
Anyway, but like to see Jon, like after all that time, was so lovely, you know, and just like, oh wow, I had much more affection for my own youth after that experience. Anyway.
I loved it because it was beautiful, and so many of us grew up with these movies. I am a firm believer that no one tells a better coming-of-age tale than John Hughes. He makes every single human feel seen and heard and relatable, and you find your character. So Jon, my next question is to you, because I was always a Duckie girl. Duckie, I will always be Team Duckie. I know
This
you
went
can
off the
get mad at
rails
me. You were the
really
guy
quick.
we dated in high school. Duckie was the guy we wanted to marry. Let's be realistic. So I have to say that Duckie had to be a blast, because you kind of get to have the most fun in that film.
Yes, that's true. And by the way, he wasn't that much of a dick. He really wasn't. No, what it was he was quiet and sort of kept to himself. And to me, that means you hate me. Just so you know. We were, and Howie Deutsch, the director, later said, "Oh, I cast you guys because I didn't think you'd like each other." Which I was like, "Oh, yeah, swear to God." So, at any rate, but to get to your question, Duckie was great fun. Duckie was sort of a combination of a bunch of guys I knew in school. My best friend who had a huge pompadour, and he was kind of a rockabilly kid. And I, you know, it's wonderful to get a script where you read it and you go, oh, I have a million ideas for this. And I can, and thankfully Howie let me sort of make up stuff as I went along sometimes. And, but you know, you're already working with John Hughes, so the stuff is fantastic to start with, and then you can just throw in a few little things. But but thank you. It was as much fun as it looked like.
I can imagine. And I'm sure a lot of women are going to agree with me. I had my Pretty in Pink moment where there was a cute boy in school that didn't want to go to a dance with me, and my babysitter is who showed me the movie for the first time, because when it came out I was 12 and I wasn't quite there yet, but then I got to the point where it was, and I had that moment. And not only that, but I also had a family where I kind of sometimes had to be the parent. And to me, that is one of my favorite roles that you've done still, because not only were you this girl in high school trying to figure your life out, but you were also having a home life where you were sometimes having to be the parent and going through all these really hard things. And I feel like as an actress, that kind of has to feel like a bit of both perfect, amazing worlds.
Well, I mean, Harry Dean Stanton was incredible. I mean, he really made that relationship real and authentic. And, he was just coming off of Paris, Texas, and, he just had all of this weight and gravitas as an actor. And we really did kind of have that sort of, I kind of took care of him. Like, I helped him memorize his lines, over lunch. Yes. And
we all did.
Right? I just can't imagine anyone else in that part. He just made it really special.
I love that. I know you have a question right here. Could you just let us know your name before you ask it so we know who you're talking to, and just direct it to whichever of the guests the question is for, please?
Okay, I should have gone to that microphone. It's much lower.
Yeah, move it down.
Push it right
There you
down.
go.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Erin. I am a teacher right here in Providence, and seeing as this movie and a lot of movies at the time had that backdrop of a school, I was curious if you had any teachers, real or fictional, that had an impact on you personally or professionally, and in what way?
Oh, I'll dive in. I had a singing teacher named Mr. Sharon, and I was never much of a singer, actually. But in junior high school, I had this insane, just incredibly serious music teacher who used to put on shows with the kids, and it was a great excuse to get out of class, because they used to perform at rest homes nearby, and we'd sing. And I'm not personally Jewish, but for some reason we went to Jewish rest homes mostly. So I learned. So I have an encyclopedic knowledge of Jewish folk songs. If you ever need them, let me know. But at any rate, this guy he just was so serious about it, and was really trying to get this New York City public school choir to be the best. He would show up in a tux every time we performed, and he took it so seriously. He just instilled in me this incredible respect for performing.
Thank you for your question. And don't forget, guys, this mic's on either side, so please line up and feel free. We want to hear your questions as well.
And where are you, House Gryffindor? What is that? I can't.
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw.
That's blue.
Okay.
That's a Ravenclaw.
People don't talk about Ravenclaw
That
enough.
is a Ravenclaw.
They
Wait,
don't.
John, have you been sorted?
I have not. I've never been
okay.
sorted,
Okay.
ladies.
I had to ask. I had to ask. It was you asked, so it was a fair point.
You're
Andrew,
definitely Hufflepuff.
Okay. Okay.
They're the happiest
I can live with
ones,
that.
right?
They are.
They are the
They've got a
happiest
vibe.
ones. What's your first name?
Dawn.
What's your question, Dawn?
It's for John. So, John, when you were in the record store and you did that epic dance to the Otis song. Now, did you choreograph that, or did somebody, or just?
I would love to take credit for that. I did not. That was a guy named Kenny Ortega. You're already familiar with Mr. Kenny Ortega. I have been trying to convince Kenny Ortega to do a documentary about his career. Wouldn't that, see? I'm not nuts. But I mean, he did Dirty Dancing, and Ferris Bueller. He did if there's an iconic bit of '80s choreography, he probably did it. Newsies.
Yeah.
I don't think I forgot Newsies. I was just trying to be brief, okay? But no, Howie Deutsch, the director, got me together with Kenny the night before we were going to shoot, And Kenny became aware very quickly that I was not a professional dancer. But he said, no, you're a mover. And we put together the thing, and really, because it was really about what it meant, what the song meant, and what I was hoping to convey to Andie, you know, and you know, I showed it to Howie and Lauren, the producer, the next day, and they were not happy about it because they realized it was going to put us behind schedule, because it took a whole day. They had only scheduled like half a day to shoot that, and there was no way we were getting that in a half a day. So, you know, but no, this was the Kenny Ortega.
But you made it yours, though.
I made it mine. That's
you made
true.
It yours.
That's true. But no, I cannot take credit for that.
Well, it was awesome. Can I ask one more question?
You can do it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Okay,
here
this
for
is
you.
for all three of you guys. By the way, I battled 95 going 80 miles an hour from Greenwich, Connecticut to get here, just to be here, and I got here just in time, so I'm super psyched. But this is up for all three of you guys. Were you able to keep any of the clothing or costumes from the movie? I probably have the same thing.
I
like, in my
kept
closet still.
everything.
As you should.
I kept everything except for one thing, and that was the prom dress. And I'm kicking myself now. I would love to have that prom. There was like 4 of them. They made 4 of these horrible dresses. And I hated it so much that I didn't keep it, but I wish that I had. I would love to have it now.
It's associated with trauma.
Big trauma.
Amazing. Thank you, guys.
Did you guys keep anything?
Oh, I kept the shoes. I kept
As
the
you
Duckie
should,
shoes.
yeah.
Oh no, it gets dramatic. It gets sad in a minute. Get ready. I lent it to Planet Hollywood, the restaurant, because I thought I was being helpful, and they lost them.
They
Yes,
didn't lose them.
they
Someone has them.
exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. There's a lot. Not the most honest people, but at any rate, no. I kept that, and I still have the last thing I have now are the bolo ties. I have like 2 of the bolo ties.
Andrew, would you keep?
I had a blue shirt for a long time. And I don't know what happened to it.
Gone. We've
Gone.
completely lost it since. I know you have a question. What is your first name?
Janine,
Hi, Janine. What's your question?
my question is for all three of you. Besides your own movies, what's your favorite 80s movie?
There's so many.
My favorite 80s movie or 80s teen movie? See?
Okay, I guess it doesn't matter. Any 80s movie.
80s
It doesn't have to be teen movie.
Probably Aliens would be mine. Okay.
I would say Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I don't know. No, I think Breakfast Club is what comes to mind when I think of the 80s.
Well, yeah. How does it not? Breakfast Club, I think Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, these are movies that still kids now are finding, they're watching, they're falling in love with, and they're relating to more so than coming-of-age tales that are created now, and I think that's really special and rare.
Well, I think particularly Breakfast Club. I mean, that was a really truthful, emotionally truthful movie in a very real way. You know, so I think the kids now watch it. Their parents force them to watch it, but they'll see, you know, like funny hairdos and slow editing, you know, for their minds. But then, so they sort of start to laugh or get at the beginning, and then they kind of by the end they're crying and going, "Yeah, that's me." You know, so I think that's because John told, you know, the emotional truth, you know, and the actors embodied that so well. So, I mean, that movie really captures that to me.
I wouldn't marry my husband if he didn't watch it and like it, so I understand that. Hi, what's
Thank
your
you.
name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Amanda. I'm an aspiring screenwriter, and John Hughes is legendary, so I just wanted to know, what was it about his material that it made you connect with his scripts the most, I guess?
Well, for me, I read the first John Hughes script when I was, I think, 15, and they just seemed real. I just related to them, and they were funny and unexpected. You know, he used a lot of slang that was just totally made up. He didn't like to use slang that was already in use because he figured that it would be out of fashion by the time, you know, the movie came out. So there was a lot of made-up slang, but it just completely made sense. And it was just funny. It was like a movie that I would want to see at that age. So I think that's what I really loved so much about his movies. And Breakfast Club, I felt really, you know, it gave kids a voice and took them seriously. And there weren't a lot of movies that did that at the time. And strong female protagonists. That's another thing.
Always kick-ass women.
But also,
always.
John, and my one experience working with John in this movie was that he also wasn't married to his dialogue at all.
Yeah.
He'd go, okay, now, yeah, that sounded fun. Make it your own, you know, and then that sounds good. That's good. You know what I mean? So he wasn't in any way precious of it. He knew what the scene was about and what he was trying to convey emotionally. But like, Molly, you'd speak better to me. But he was like, yeah, no, that's better. What you just said was better, you know.
Yeah, he wasn't precious, and that is, I've found incredibly rare in a writer. And it's almost like, in my experience, the better writers are the less precious ones. You know, his writing was so good that we would usually just do it as written, and then we would just kind of go off and improvise and do our own thing. And he loved that.
He also, by the way, was a writer at National Lampoon for years before he started screenwriting, and that's sort of where he developed a lot of his sensibility. And he always had this incredible way to tap into the teenage brain. I mean, he really, you could tell he was writing from that place. I don't know how his life was as a teenager. I hope it was good, but probably not, because that's how this works in this business. But I loved his work at National Lampoon. And when I first met him, that was what I was excited about, was that I was like, I'm going to work with that guy. That's amazing.
Thank you so much for your question. Hi, what's your name?
Sorry.
Don't worry about it. You're good.
Hi, my name is Hillary.
What's your question, Hillary?
It's actually just more of a comment, and I just kind of wanted just to say thank you to you all. Growing up as a teenager in the 80s, I think we always all felt kind of that awkward, nobody gets us, nobody understands, but watching these shows and growing up with these movies, I feel like just made us feel like we weren't alone, going through some of those tough times that you feel kind of lost. So I just wanted to thank you guys for being a part of my childhood.
Oh, you're the sweetest.
You're welcome, and thank you for sharing that.
Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Lauren. I love this movie. I rewatched it last night. I remember hearing Andrew say in an interview a few years ago that you couldn't necessarily predict that decades later so many people would still be attached to this film about a school dance. And I'm wondering if each of you have a particular favorite scene or moment from filming the movie that meant a lot to you at the time, or is just particularly memorable or fun.
I have two. First one is his dance, because I did not know, I don't know, I was still going to school and like doing my finals, and so when they were, I didn't even know. I just knew I was going to sit on the counter and he was going to come in and do something. I had no idea that he was going to do that, and I was
This is
so
the first time hearing
impressed.
this, by the way. That seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
okay.
Somehow, I didn't know. So that was like, I was really, really impressed. And my second favorite moment was my kiss with Andrew. It was a really good one.
Which
Really good
one?
Really? Wow.
He's blushing.
Yeah, wow. That was definitely my favorite moment. I also love there was a party scene when I take Molly to a party and Jimmy Spader is like up in bed with somebody, and I just love Jimmy Spader. He was just such a fucking asshole in that movie. And I'm just walking in and James is like, Blane, and doing that weird Jimmy Spader thing, and I just thought it was fantastic. I would just sort of watch him and go, wow, Jimmy, that's so good. we hate you.
If we're going to shoot some trap, we got to shake it. We're going to shoot, he's going to go trap shooting. This is a 17-year-old who's going to go trap shooting. Okay, sure.
I think that was Jimmy's line. I think he made
Yes, that was Jimmy. That was absolutely Jimmy. And yeah, I loved a lot of the wonderful stuff that I think my fight with Spader was one of my favorite things. He and I, we were dedicated to the idea that we wanted to make this look like a real fight as opposed to a movie fight, where it sort of feels choreographed and people are, and I was like, no, that's not how fights are. you know, so it's kind of a mess, and we don't, you know, you can't quite tell who won, you know, and so I love that, and I love the scene right after the dance because it's this wonderful turnaround for both of our characters, and you know, so it was a thrill. It was a thrill to do it with you. It was absolutely and actually, Molly was a much more experienced film actor than I was at that point, and I learned so much from working with you on that movie. It just changed how I work
John.
entirely.
Thank you so much
Thanks
for
so
your
much.
question.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, of course. Hi, what is your first name?
Hi, I'm Lisa.
Lisa, what's your question?
I have both a comment and a question. So similar to the woman just before me, I was a sophomore in high school in 1986, and I just want to thank Molly and John for Duckie and Andie for helping us see that sometimes what makes you weird or different is also your superpower. And as somebody that didn't quite fit into any one category in those years, I made it my superpower, and it helped me become the woman that I am today. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
My question is a little bit of a different take. I often look back on photos and memories from those years and cringe that we thought that was okay and we thought that that was cool. When you look back on this film or any of your films from that era, are there anything now that like you cringe or you don't want to show your kids, or that you're just like, oh God, why did I do that?
Oh, don't get me started. No, there's you know, there is some aspect of a guy constantly riding his bike past your house that's a little, I don't know. But no, Pretty in Pink actually I feel like is the least that I have. I love that movie. I feel like it was true to its time. I think it really had real affection for all of its characters. You know, even Spader. Well, at least I had affection for him. But yeah, no, you know, there's some. I mean, I did a movie called Hiding Out that has well, let's call it a May-December romance. No, I watched it. I was like, oh, that's not right. And a very unfortunate haircut. But
We
Pretty
all
in Pink-
had them.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of affection, and I think all these movies stand up. Pretty in Pink is the only one of the three that I did with John that I had no qualms about showing to my kids at any age. I think it was the first one that I showed to all three of them. You know, Breakfast Club required more discussion, and 16 Candles also. I forgot how dirty it was. You know, and there are things that I definitely take issue with, not things that my particular character did, but that other characters did. You know,
Some of those party scenes in 16 Candles.
There's some stuff that I you know, there's feelings that I have about it, but they're complicated and nuanced feelings. I don't think I ever wanted to sort of cancel those movies at all, because I feel like they're still incredibly meaningful, and I feel like they do hold up, but they are of a different time, and that's just the reality. You know, times change, as they should. Things evolve.
Hi, what is your name?
Hi, I'm Amanda, and I have like a comment and a question. I'm a film major that got inspired by like coming of age stories, so like thank you guys for being the foundation of that, I guess. And I have a side question for John. You were in like the Arrowverse as Lex Luthor and all that stuff. Sorry.
It's a bit of a
Yeah, that's
left
very,
turn
yes.
for Duckie.
I know.
But
I'm
okay.
sorry.
That's okay.
And I was just like wondering, because John Gunn is doing like a whole revamp of the DC universe and all that stuff, and I know Grant Gustin was like, oh, I could be like the Flash in that universe. I was wondering, I know there's already a Lex Luthor, but like if you were asked to be in the universe, what would you want to like
Oh, I'd say
do?
no.
No?
Under no circumstances will I be in a big major movie.
No.
No, thank you. No, once you participate in that, it becomes like this fun sort of brotherhood. I mean, I run into all we should have a club. We should have a Lex Luthor. Well, the Council of Luthers, actually. It's canon. We could do it. But we've all had our own sort of relationship to that guy, and he's so much fun. He's so much fun to play. So yes, I'd happily do something with them again.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much for your
you.
question. Captain America, what is your first name and what's your question?
Oh, my name's Lanny. I just wanted to, I was sitting here keeping with the theme of the number of movies that the three of you were in that I consider formative. It's just, I was trying to tally them up and I couldn't. So it's just very nice. But personally, I wanted to say, lately I've been following Mr. Cryer on Threads, and I just wanted to say thank you and keep up the good fight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll try.
Also, Andrew, I have to mention that obviously Andie is the sweetheart. We love her in this film. Duckie is the best friend. That is amazing. But arguably, Blane has my favorite character arc of the film, because your line at the end where you say, "It wasn't about you, I had to find something in me," to me almost is a little bit more magical at the end. That kind of had to be an interesting thing to go into towards the end of the film, because that was beautiful.
Well, it didn't start that way. Of course, that was a rewrite that happened because we reshot the end of the movie, as many of you probably know. The original ending is, I'm not sure I have the original ending right, but I know that I dump Molly. I get peer pressured out by Jimmy Spader's character to not go with Molly to the prom. So I show up. I thought I didn't go to the prom, but I actually did go to the prom with somebody else and then John went with Molly. And the audience, Howie Deutsch tells this story very well. They did a test screening, where they bring in, before the movie comes out, they bring in 100 people to watch the movie and then write little cards after what you think of the movie. And so they brought in all these people for the test screening, and they were loving the movie, loving the movie, loving the movie. Blane dumps Andie, and she goes with John, and they're hating the movie. They're hating the movie.
They actually
so
booed.
Paramount
They booed. They
suddenly-
didn't need the little cards afterwards because people just booed.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Anybody you guys know the story better probably. But go ahead, Molly.
I was also deathly ill when we
we
shot. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but when we shot it, I had the flu and a fever, and we were spinning around.
We had to dance
These are
and spin
excuses.
around.
That's not
I passed
why.
out.
These
you
are
know,
all
it was-
excuses. That's not why.
Yes.
No, it was true. It was. But also, it was her best friend, and Duckie was originally, John wrote the movie for me, and it was originally based on my best friend, and we had a very similar relationship. My best friend is gay, which is always why I say Duckie is gay. But he used to ride his bike past my house all the time, and he was like in love with me in the way that, like, if he would be with girls, I was his dream girl. Now he's with a man, and I'm the godmother of his child, and he's the godmother of my child. So I feel like Duckie and Andie are still in each other's lives. I doubt that Blane and Andie are still together. But Duckie and Andie still know each other.
But I also think, Howie mentioned this, because, the movie was a fairy tale, and you have to give the girl what she wants in a fairy tale.
Yeah. It's a bummer if Cinderella doesn't get together with her Prince Charming. I mean, come on.
And also, I think John was going for something different at the end. It wasn't that Andie and Duckie were together romantically. They were they had sort of solidarity as friends. It has gotten a little bit twisted over the years that they end up together, and it's like the original ending was they just dance together and they're having a great time, and that's it. It's not like they're going to be together for the rest of their lives.
I thought that it was that they were supposed to be together
in
in the original.
I literally dug up the old script.
Really?
And we make a joke about it. At one point, you pick me up, like she lifts me up. I mean, it's like, what the hell is happening here?
I love that you have the old
I still have my old script.
I don't have any of them.
And because I was like, what was it? But no, it didn't. And she did actually pass out while we were shooting it, so we did not get all the shots that we wanted to get. But again, John was going for sort of a different thing. But also, I think that you guys had such amazing chemistry that the audience just couldn't help but buy into that and really love it. And so I could see why that ending wouldn't pay off for people.
And when did we ever get to see the heartthrob guy say, I just needed to learn something about myself? Like, that's something we didn't see until the 2000s. So to me, that was one of the most magical moments. So I just had to throw that in for you. Hi.
Hi.
What is your name and what is your question?
Hey, I'm Fritz from Atlanta, and it's a dream having the three of you all here for sure. I have
Fritz,
a couple.
thank you for the dog toys. My dog loves them.
Oh,
He brought Millie some treats yesterday.
You're welcome.
Made her very happy.
I'm a dog person, so I can relate. I have two questions. My first question is for Molly. What was it like working with Annie Potts, and do you have a special memory with the movie?
Annie is just incredible. I mean, she was warm and lovely and smart, and I had just a great time with her.
That's awesome.
And I think my favorite stuff was just watching her with you. I think.
When we were
that
making
scene
out.
where you kiss her and she's like, "Damn, that was great." Who knew?
Yeah, she was funny.
Yeah, she was a lovely person.
Awesome. And my other question for Andrew is, what was it like wearing that wig at the end? And can you tell him about that story, and how did you come about finding the right hair and everything?
Yeah, so when they decided to reshoot the ending, I was in New York doing a play, and I had shaved my head I was playing a Marine or something, so I had very short hair, and so they made me a wig, and it was a really bad wig, and I always
Terrible wig.
I always say that if we knew we'd still be talking about the movie, 40 years later, they would have paid for a better wig. But anyway, so I wore this terrible wig, and it looked like this sort of bird's nest on top of my head. And I always say that moment that you're talking about, this wonderful, I believed in you, I didn't, whatever the line was, I love you always. And it's really just, I look so forlorn and sad because my wig is so bad. And it's just bad wig acting, really. I just walked up and said, I love you, and my hair is so sad. I'm like, oh, this poor kid. So.
It was distracting looking at the hair while you say it, I won't lie.
Thank you.
Hi, what is your name and what is your question?
Hi, how's it going, guys? Pleasure to meet you. My name is Alex from Massachusetts, and I just want to say thank you so much for coming to speak with us. It's a real honor for you to, come and talk to us about the past movies that you've done, and real honor to meet you. And my question is, before you were cast in Pretty in Pink, I must know, was anyone else considered for your roles beforehand originally?
Probably not for Molly. 'cause it
Not
was
for
written-
me.
Yeah.
For Duckie, there were three. There was Michael J. Fox, Robert Downey Jr., and Jon Cryer. And now I can't imagine anyone, of course, but John. I mean, that's his part. For Andrew's part, a bunch of guys came in. I remember Charlie Sheen coming in to read for that, and
Wow.
yeah. Would have been a very different experience for John.
Can I tell? I got the part because of Molly, 100%.
100%.
Because, no, it's true. Because the part in my recollection, tell me when I go wrong, Molly, but my recollection is the part was written for like a broad-shouldered, square-jawed kind of jock, quarterback type, like the golden guy on campus. And so I had just done a movie that hadn't come out yet called St. Elmo's Fire, and because that's... Thanks. But because of that, there was some heat around that movie going, well, he's not right for this, because he's in that movie. Okay, we'll give him a courtesy audition, he can come in and read. So I went had a little, page and a half scene, and I walked into a place in New York, and Molly was there, which is very rare that the actress would be there. Normally it's just a casting director reading and some person reading the script, and maybe the director's sitting there, and you read. But Molly was there reading with people came in. So I came in, and I read and Molly was there, and Howie Deutsch, the director, was sitting there very eager next to the camera. And this guy, this sort of blonde guy in baggy clothes, was sitting in the back, sort of slouching in the floor, just sort of watching, and that was John Hughes. And he didn't say anything. I walked in, I read my scene, and they went, okay, thank you. I couldn't have cared less. And I walk out, and Molly turns to John. This is my recollection, how the legend lives in my mind. Molly turns to John and goes, "That's the guy." And John goes like, "That wimp?" And she goes, "Yeah, no, he's kind of soulful. That's the kind of guy." And said, "Some jock, that's the kind of guy Andie'd fall for." And John, to his credit, kind of went, you know, we always talk about how John respected young people and everything. He actually put his money where his mouth is, and he said, "You want him? Okay. I don't quite see it, but okay." And then to his credit, you know, the second he hired me, he was all behind me. But that's how I remember it going down.
Thank you very much for your
Yeah,
question.
anytime. You're welcome.
Absolutely. So, John, I know this is your first con, so this question's more to Andrew and Molly, but one of my favorite experiences about being part of these conventions is not only getting to talk to you guys, but hearing your stories about coming to conventions. Because I know that coming to these places is just as much a gift to you as it is to the guest. So before we let you go back to your tables and photo ops, I would love to hear from both of you on what it means to be able to come out to these shows and meet these people who have watched these shows, grown up with you. We all feel like we're part of your family, whether you've ever met us or not. And everybody has a story of how we've related to or how you've helped us get through things. So I'd love for you to just tell this lovely audience about that, because I know that's really special.
It's all about you. I mean, I'm going to sound like K-pop demon hunters right now, but it's all about the fans, you know? I mean, these movies still exist and they still resonate because of all of you, you know? Watching them, having them mean something to you, showing them to your kids, showing them to your grandkids. I mean, there's just not that many movies that resonate with so many generations and so many different, you know, kinds of people. It's really meaningful to me, and it's really been really nice to meet all of you and to feel like I've really had a positive effect on your life. So thank you for that.
We'll give John the last word, but what I learned making that documentary was that we're kind of like the avatars of youth for you people, you know? And so you come up to me or any one of us, we look and you start talking, and very quickly the kind of eyes glaze over, and I realize you're not talking to me anymore, you're talking to your own youth. You know, and I represent that to you, and so we represent that moment in life when you're coming of age, when, you know, people 17, 18, 19, 20, when you're just blossoming, and life is a blank slate to be written upon, and it's a thrilling, wondrous moment in life, when anything is possible, before we get old and disappointed and bitter. And, and we represent that to a generation of people, and so, to be able to just receive people when they come up to say that is an amazing gift for a two-way street, you know?
And John, you're about to get all that magic for the next 2 days. All of it is coming to you
people.
next.
Be gentle.
I can't thank you all enough for being here today. Make sure you stop by all of their tables and say hello, and enjoy the rest of your con weekend.